Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher, and for those of you who don't know, just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're diving back into The Miracle of Teddy Bear. We're diving into episode 5. It's been about a month or so since I dove into episode 4, but I did just a quick little brush up, and yeah, episode 4 was hella emotional. Like pretty much every episode has been so far. This series just knows how to make the most of the hour-and-a-half episode lengths that they have and just make you feel the whole full gambit of emotions. Happiness, sadness. There were so many cute, adorable moments between Nut and Tofu, and then we switched gears like 15 times to all these hard-hitting emotional moments, dealing with Na and dealing with Jan and Sen and just everybody. We were dealing with I forget, cute little boy with the eyebrows, what his name is right now, but his daddy, and the death of the guy that Tofu resembles, and just like there were so many things. In the end, we had Nut running off with his Uncle Sen to just chit chat, talk, and whatnot, and God, so many emotions. So we're gonna dive into episode 5 and see what emotional roller coaster they take us on this time. If you saw my channel update video for June 2023, then you would have seen where I mentioned that I was going to be reacting more regularly to this, so you can expect reactions to this series to be coming out on Thursdays, at least for the next month, doing a little trial basis with a new calendar. And yeah, so you can at least expect to get 4 episodes consistently throughout the next month. But let's just dive in and see where this episode takes us. Oh, probably won't see. Okay, so this might be the first episode, or this, I'll say it's the least emotionally destructive episode we've had thus far. Yes, there were still some emotional points in there. There was, especially there, that last like 5-10 minutes of the episode was getting a little heavy there. But for the most part, this episode was light and just full of so many moments that made me smile, so many moments where I was clutching onto my pillow and just sitting here screaming, y'all are so adorable, y'all are so cute, oh my God. Like, there were so many good, just warm moments in this episode that I thoroughly enjoyed. It was a very refreshing change of pace. But yes, we still did have some of those other heavy-hitting things. So let me kind of scrub through this, take it back from the top. So we started off with Nut showering, which is always a fantastic way to start any episode. Great way to start the day. Best part of waking up is nuts hanging in your face. But then that led to the first set of cute moments between Nut and Tofu, the whole ironing scene, very reminiscent of the sort of stereotypical cliche, hey, you don't know how to play pool, fine, let me show you how to play pool by getting behind you and showing you how to hold the pool cue, this, that, the other. Very cliche, blah, blah, blah. So it felt kind of like a take on that, but instead of, you know, playing pool, we were showing him how to iron, and it was adorable. These cliches are cliches for a reason, because a lot of time they work. They've worked in the past, and they work very, very well. So it was super duper adorable. And like I said in that moment, I don't know how some of these, in these series, these characters, not even just the actors, but the actors too, but like in these series, the characters in the world, how they can just be so close to one another's faces and stare so intently for so long and not just devour each other. Because they say, like, if you're able to stare into someone's eyes for, I think, like 6 seconds or something, or longer, I forget what the exact time frame is, it either shows a high level of attraction or desire to kill. So I don't feel the desire to kill is abundant between these two. But like, to stare so intently, so deeply, so passionately for so long, and not just go in for the or something. Like, I don't know. I'm all about, y'all know I preach from the high heavens, consent and restraint, this, that, and the other. I'm all about it, but there's only so much restraint that I can have being put in that situation so many times, because it happens to them so many times in this damn series, Lord. But yes, super duper adorable. And then they're getting hot, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so hot." It's like, "Oh, here, touch your earlobes." I guess that's something that Na taught Tofu, and Nut was like, "Nah, I'm good." So then he's like, "Fine, just like this," and grabs his earlobes, and it's like, okay, it's almost like Nut is grabbing him by the back of the neck, and getting ready to pull him in for a kiss. It's like, y'all better set up another one of these cute little moments. Y'all better do this. And just like Nut's boss was saying, how the the viewers of these kind of series, they love the cute fluffy scenes, they love these intimate romantic scenes, and it's the truth, it's the God's honest truth. Yes, I love these moments when we're exploring, like, real world scenarios. I love when we get some of those hard hitting emotional things. I love exploring that. But at the end of the day, if you show me some light and fluffy shit with some cute boys and they're just happy and in love, I'm gonna eat that shit up. Like, nom 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 nom. Yes, I love that. I love hot guys doing gay shit. I've said it a million times. And Tofu made him the lunch that first day, when Na overslept, and then we were starting to see, as the first part of the episode was going on, that Na was feeling more tired at night and sleeping more heavily, and it's because of the medication that Tofu is slipping into her juice that he's preparing, which I'm assuming is her medication for her mental health, and not just like some sort of sedative. And I guess one of the side effects of the medication is tiredness. Although he did say, when she is awake during the day, she has more energy, she seems stronger, blah blah blah. I don't know if that was just him saying it to make her feel better, or if that was actually the truth. But yes, like I said, that I don't necessarily agree with his methods of slipping her this medication against her will. I understand where he is coming from. I understand the motivations behind it, because as we saw in the last couple episodes, she's not been doing what she's needed to do to receive the help that she's been going to therapy, sure. So she's seeking help, but it seems more out of a sense of, hey, like an obligation, like, I'm supposed to go see my doctor, and I know my son knows I'm going to go see my doctor, so I'm going to go see my doctor. I'm not really seeking any help. I don't think anything's wrong with me. I'm good, and I don't want any of this medication, blah blah blah. So she's not trying to accept any of the help that she's getting. And it's a tough place. It's a tough, sticky place to be in, because you don't want to take away someone's right to choose. You don't want to force help upon someone who doesn't want to take it. But at the same time, this is a loved one. It's someone that they care about deeply, and they want to see them. They don't want to see them living in this fractured mental state. But there's a reason they went into that fractured mental state, and it seems to bring them some sort of comfort. So it's a very slippery slope of, all right, who am I to try and control someone else's life and how they seek comfort and refuge? But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, do I want them living in this delusional state? It's very, very complicated. I don't have any right answers. I don't know that there are any definitive right answers. I can't tell you what's right for you, what's wrong for you. All I know is I understand where he is coming from. I may not necessarily agree with his methods, but I understand where he is coming from and what he is trying to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, we want to see Na healthy and happy. It's just complicated, slippery slope. Lord. Had some more interactions with Sound and his daddy. Sound's daddy. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that first little scene with them, because it seemed, at least me watching it through the first time without going back and like rereading, it seemed as though, like when the conversation was first starting, Sound's daddy was of a certain mindset that we've seen a dozen times over in these series, especially with some like the heterosexual male figures in some of these series, where it's like, okay, gay men are just, they're sissies, they're girly, they're not masculine, blah 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 blah. So it felt like we were kind of leaning into that a little bit, and then Sounds try to rectify, like, hey, just because they're guys and they like each other doesn't mean that they're not masculine, right? And then Daddy said something, I don't quite remember exactly what he said, but if from what my brain is remembering, it felt like he was trying to not necessarily backtrack on what he was saying before, but yeah, I don't know. It just felt like Sound in that moment wanted to start a conversation, but then was like, no, I don't feel up to this conversation right now. And it was just kind of like, okay, well, let's change the subject. Let's talk about cooking dinner, or whatever. And it seemed like there might have been a couple other times throughout their interactions that he wanted to have some sort of conversation with his dad and just did not go down that route. So it seems as though Daddy may not be aware of Sound's preference, and that can bring about some interesting conversation later in the series. There were a lot of great moments in this between Sound and Yen, and I was very happy to see it. I feel like it all kind of really started to take off when Gen accidentally hurt Sound's feelings when the shooting was over, because the whole time leading up to that, Sound has just been the same. He's been all the way through just like, okay, I'm gonna like you, and I'm just gonna be persistent. I'm gonna keep liking you, and hopefully you'll like me back, and just being adorable, sweet, energetic, optimistic, similar to Tofu in a sense. And Gen has just been like, no, leave me alone, child. Oh my god, child, go away. So that's just kind of their dynamic. They have this playful love hate kind of relationship where it's like, okay, I'm gonna just keep trying to woo you, and you're gonna just be difficult and hard to get, and that's just gonna be our dynamic. So I'll say super duper cheesy things, you'll say super duper hurtful things, but you won't really mean it, blah blah blah. But in saying one of those super duper hurtful things, he kind of hit a nerve, and he's like, doesn't your daddy give you the validation, blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, you could see on Sound's face that was a touchy spot, because even though Gen doesn't know, still you could feel that, and we know as the viewers looking in, and it's like, oh baby, no. So I'm glad that Gen stayed back and was like, okay, I need to apologize, blah blah blah. And then Sound very quickly was forgiving, because he did not. Yes, that may have stung. It may not have been an ideal thing for him to hear, but I don't think he was like super duper genuinely. I don't think he was mad. Yes, he might have been hurt for a little bit, but I think he moved past it. And the fact that Gen was wanting to apologize made him even happier, because it's like, oh, this means that I mean something to him. I mean enough to him that he wants to apologize and try and make the situation right. If I didn't mean anything to him, he would have just let it go and moved on with life. So that's something. And it was cute. It was adorable. And then from there on, it just felt like the beginning stage of a relationship. Like if you've been in a relationship or you've been talking to someone, and those first couple days, weeks, when you can't get enough of them. You're waiting by your phone with bated breath, waiting for a response to a message you sent, waiting for them to call, waiting for this, that, the other, just any kind of interaction. You spend all day thinking about them, wondering when are they gonna get off of work so they can text you, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, that whole sort of thing. And that's what, after that whole first night, or after that night of, hey, I apologize, hey, let's be friends, I'm gonna order you dinner, blah blah blah, after that whole night, that's what it felt like. It felt like those beginning couple of days of a new, fresh, budding relationship where you're both just super duper excited and nothing this person can do can ever be wrong. That's what it started to feel like, and it was super duper adorable to see for them. I love it for them. I really hope it works out. What else? We did get to see a little bit of Nut's school history. We got to meet the teacher who was friends with his mom, who is terribly homophobic from what it looks like, and is part of the reason he has a very negative view of this school and his time in school. Then we got to see him being picked on and bullied, and then we had a lot of just introductions to this new character, this new guy, because all this time we've been led up to believe that, okay, Nut's first love was Nung the whole time. That's what we've been led up to believe. And then we've got Tofu coming back, you know, in the form of Nung. It's like, hey, blah blah blah, and in a sense it kind of was. Nung was, I guess, the first guy that really caught Nut's eye, and like he had that attraction, he had that crush, that schoolboy crush on him. But it seems as though that schoolboy crush didn't turn into anything. Like he said, they never dated. But out of that schoolboy crush was born this potential relationship with this other guy, who I tried to do the family tree link between the two of them, because there's some sort of connection between Nut and this other guy whose name I can't remember right now. Because if Nut is Sen's nephew, so this bloodline, then this guy is Jan's nephew. So they would be second cousins. No blood relation. No blood relation or anything like that. But second cousins, maybe, something along those lines. I don't know that they have, if they are aware of that fact, or if they had any sort of, well, maybe. I don't know. Well, I'll need more flashbacks to see things, what's going on there. But yeah, that was an interesting connection that we were making there, and it just makes me even more interested to see, just to see what went on in the past. How did this relationship go, if at all? And I'm assuming, going out on a limb, that he was the one who gave Tofu as a teddy bear. That would explain some of the things that we're seeing, like we were seeing when Tofu was making the pork, or we've not immediately got flashbacks to eating the pork with this guy, all cozy wozy, and it's like, okay, that's something that just kind of, he's like, I just want with my heart, and it's like, okay, that's something subliminally kind of inherited from this other guy. Yeah, just interesting, and then especially now that Nut is going through this super duper intense rewrite of his script, and having to do all this self-reflection on, you know, why there is this wall up. I'm very interested to see what other information they have for us, and how they're going to explore that relationship between Nut and second cousin man whose name I can't remember, and how we're going to tie this all back to Tofu. I'm just very, very interested. Oh yeah, I didn't even touch on Jan and the whole potential murder thing. At first, when she showed up in the hospital and they were showing us the flashbacks of her having the conversation with the nephew, I was getting ready to say, I don't know that she actually did anything. I feel like right now they're kind of showing us this to kind of like fake us out, like, oh yeah, she had something to do with it, and then in the end, like, she didn't actually have anything to do with it. Because like last episode, I was starting to feel almost sympathetic for her when I was reacting, just because of the situation she was in with Sen, and how obviously he loved Na, and the only reason that she ended up in a relationship with Sen is because how things worked out with her, and like she's just kind of like trapped in this, or she's holding tight to this marriage to someone who does not want to be with her, and he's tried to get her to sign the divorce papers so many times. Like, I was almost starting to feel sympathetic for her, but then before I started reacting to this episode, I kind of skimmed through that episode again just to remind myself of what happened, and I was watching through that conversation, the fight that she was having with Sen, and he said something along the lines of, you know, have you even thought about your nephew? You know, he's in a coma, blah, blah, blah. And have you even thought about him? And she said something along the lines of like, no, why would I? Your company takes care of all his bills, blah, blah, blah. You know what? He would be better off dead. At least then I would inherit, I'd get whatever land or money, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'm going to pretend that that's just the alcohol drink, you know, speaking. And I was like, why would she say something like that? So then that paired with her kind of just looming over, almost approaching the life support machine he was on, I was like, did she have something? Because at first I'm like, okay, maybe they're just trying to fake us out, because they're going a little heavy-handed with this, okay, we're a family, but we're fighting over land and money, blah, 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 blah. And now all of a sudden he's like, I'm like, they're going a little heavy-handed with that storyline. But then I'm like, maybe she did have something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm interested to see where that storyline goes, and how there's so much happening in this universe. So I'm interested to see how that all pans out. Then we had the whole last little scene with Tofu not really sneaking into Nut's room because Na gave him the key, but you know, not being happy. And you know, this is nothing new. We've taken kind of a little break from super angry, not really reasonable Nut for like an episode and a half. So you know, we're bringing him back into the picture now. But it's not necessarily surprising. We've seen him fly off the handle for all manner of things. We know that he's very hot-headed. He has a short temper sometimes. And he's gotten better over like the last episode and a half. But he's still him. Not going to fix it overnight. So the second that she whipped out that key, I'm like, you were just setting him up for something not good right now. Nah, don't do this. Don't do this. And Tofu, I won't say that he doesn't know any better, because you know, the longer he's been human, the more he's learning about the world. But he's still so naively optimistic and just wanting to help. So like, while Na, like, yes, everything Nut was saying in that conversation when he was yelling, if we took out the yelling part, I'm inclined to agree with the majority of the things he was saying. Like, yes, it's still very much an invasion of privacy to go into someone's room without their permission. Whether you want to hide it under the guise of I'm worried or I care, blah, 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 still an invasion of privacy. And while, yes, I'm sure she was worried, I'm sure she did care, he wasn't in mortal danger. He was still very much alive. We could hear him. We know he's breathing. He may not be eating as regularly as we'd like, but we know that he is alive and well-ish from a health standpoint. So as much as we would like him to take part in our family dynamic, we can't force it upon him. And if he's not given us permission to come into the room, then we don't have permission to come to the room, and it's kind of an invasion of privacy, even if it is under the best intentions. The road to hell is paved in good intentions. So I understand everything that Nut was saying. I understand where Na was coming from. I understand where Tofu was coming from. Tofu literally just wants to help. Like, he's got no ulterior motives. He's not, well, He's not trying to find out information about Nut, but I'm like, well, he is trying to find out information about Nut. They spend this whole series trying to find out information about Nut. But he genuinely just wants to help him feel better and wants to take care of him. That is his MO right now. But yeah, I see why Nut was terribly upset, and then it seems as though that was stemming from a long-standing problem. It's not like this was just a one-off occurrence or something. This is something that again, these deep-seated feelings he has from high school. So feelings towards the principal lady or whatever, feelings towards the school in general, feelings towards his mom stemming back from that invasion of privacy. Like, it's all stemming back to this wall that he's got built up in regards to this first relationship, his sexuality, discovering himself, this, that, the other. So it's understandable why he blew up the way he did. Now, I wish we could have calmed him down, sure, because he was taking out his anger and aggression on everyone who happened to be in the room, which was not fair to everyone else. But once people are in that sort of blind rage, it's hard to reason with them. It's hard to get them to see, hey, we're not your enemy. I didn't do a damn thing to you, baby. I'm just an innocent bystander in this. So thankfully, Gen this is like the second or third time we've seen Gen really be able to bring Nut back, like really be able to talk to him and like hone in on whatever semblance of civility is inside him. Like, hey, baby, calm down, let's talk, come with me, let's go, baby, let's go. What the fuck is going on? So thank God he's got Gen in his life. We all need that good friend who can just kind of just sit us down and be like, baby, I know you're feeling something, but you're wrong. I'm not going to patronize you and, you know, just agree with everything you say, blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, I get this, blah, 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 but baby, your ass is wrong too. A, B, C, D, E, F, G didn't need to go down this way. So let's reevaluate, calm, clear-headed, and just, So, you know, thankfully Gen was there, but then Gen had to run off there towards the end, and I didn't watch the preview, but before I got to pause it, I saw a little bit of what looked like Song on the ground, looking into his phone or talking to his phone. It looked like he was crying, maybe holding his stomach. I think it has to do with the congee that he ate that was sitting out all damn night. I was worried when I saw him pour that into a bowl that he was going to get himself sick, so I think he might have like some sort of stomach poisoning or food poisoning or something like that. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, all in all, it was a great episode. Not the super duper emotional heavy roller coaster that we've been used to the last couple episodes, but there was just a lot of good flashback and a lot of background information that was given to us that makes me very excited for where the next episode's going to take us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. I'll see you guys in my next video. Love ya. Mwah.